Tesla announces a 5-to-1 stock split. This is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. Thanks once again for joining us. It's nice to have some good news for a change with Tesla. We're back in the studio, and I was relaxing, watching CNBC numbers, and we also all of a sudden found out that Tesla is actually going to do a 5-to-1 stock split. So I actually didn't realize the stock split was coming. There had been discussion of it. But what happened was that I was sitting there and all of a sudden the stock jumped by 80 points and then 115, 120 points above its closing price. And this said to me something big was happening. So I looked at the headline and that's what we found. So basically, the core statements that were made are, number one, as of the 21st, shareholders of record will then get the 5 shares as of the 28th of the month, and then we'll go from there. The news comes with a surprise for me because Elon seems to be following Warren Buffett and others around a path where they just have a high stock price and don't worry about it. I also felt like he was trying to beat out the folks at Google to see who could have the highest stock price among them. So I'm excited to see this split was announced. Now, after seeing the split, I have to admit my first reaction was it sounds like the news had come out regarding S&P and Tesla entry, and therefore we should be excited about how that's going to work. I'm wondering if this split isn't playing into the hands of the S&P, because without increasing the market cap of the company, you're able to distribute more shares efficiently, and that includes to folks within the S&P. So I'm wondering if this isn't a concession for that transition that might be occurring. We'll find out, but it's a distinct possibility. Now, my first reaction to it was, well, what's the big deal? There's a transition from having fewer shares at the same market cap to having more shares, same market cap. Well, that is true, but there's this interesting thing that I've learned about over the years called the rule of round numbers. So the way this works is that when people buy shares, they like to buy round numbers, 100, 200, 1,000, all these different numbers. So anytime they can get a round number at a reasonable price, it tends to affect their willingness to purchase. So I quickly did some digging to figure out, what expected increase in stock price might be. And the feeling I was getting from the research I did is somewhere in that 10 to 20% range is what the increase of the stock price might be. And this is solely because a broader number of investors can now comfortably fit those shares into their accounts. I actually think 10 to 1 would have been better with this idea in mind. But the fact that we have the 5-to-1 split really beats where we were. So kudos to Tesla, kudos to Elon for making this change. Clearly the market loves it, with the stock price initially being up 100 points and then up 70, 75, then back over. We'll find out once all the analysts have a chance to review this by tomorrow. But we believe that, this is good news, and I think all the investors will benefit from it at every point. I guess the only argument I would make against it is, like I said, I wish that we were at a 10 to 1, because having a sub $100 price on your stock price would really be able to fit in a lot of people's portfolios comfortably as they're doing different things. So the next thing we wanted to review is this very much feels like an answer to the prayers of many people as to how the S&P would fit Tesla in. And so I really think that were Elon alone, this would not be happening, but were it for the S&P and Tesla's inclusion, this totally makes sense. And so for those of you who are owners of the shares, congratulations. And for future owners who are going to be able to buy now because the price isn't so high, congratulations to you too. I think you're going to end up pushing the stock price nicely up, helping us to get out of the doldrums. As I've been saying to my Patreon supporters and others, without a catalyst from the company here and earnings on the horizon into September, along with Battery Day, we're kind of stuck in this zone of going nowhere. So the fact that we have this change of plan is really exciting. And again, congratulations. I wanted to, with the remaining time we have for this show, get into something I call the 00 plan. So we had something happen today, which is that Tesla's stock price fell below 1400, and right after 1400, it made a trip to 1365 and then back up again. So why I wanted to bring this 00 phenomenon up is there's something I reviewed with my Patreon supporters this morning, which was that the stock initially fell below 1400 to about 1393. I then said, look out, because I think there's going to be another 40-point drop in the stock price right now. And there's a simple reason, and that is stop losses and the bots. So what this is that if you're a holder of stock or options or whatever it is, you can actually put in stop losses at certain price points as the stock is falling. What people tend to do is put their stop losses in at the 00, so 1400, 1300, 1500. All those zeros tend to be stop losses. So one of the things that happened this morning is after it dropped below 1400 comfortably into the 1393, I thought that there was going to be a 40-point drop, which is what occurred. And the reason is that the first part of the process is that we see the stock price drop below 1400 and stay there. It doesn't quickly bounce over. What this then triggers is a whole bunch of people are now selling out according to their stop loss. As they start their motion, the bots from the hedge funds and others are watching the market all the time. So anytime there's a drop in price of this nature, you all of a sudden have a whole bunch more people jumping on that bandwagon as that stock price is falling, because the bots are instructed to simply sell out the stock and they can ask questions later. So the challenge for a stop loss in this case is that if the stock keeps falling, it's a market sell order. So if it's a rapid drop, they may not lose the whole 40 or 50 points extra, but oftentimes they do lose a lot more than expected, and it's not just within 5 or 10 points of the 00, in this case was 1400. So our assessment was that after the stock price stopped going down at 1365, I actually bought a call or two and made some money as Tesla returned to $1,400. Now, the process of the bots is that they sell out immediately. The managers will then go back in and look at the stock to see if there's something fundamentally wrong with it, in which case they'll go back in and buy the stock, hence the rising value of the share price. So in this case today, obviously it finished up at 1370. After getting back up to 1400 or 1410, it fell back down. And then we had this nice run in the evening hours just now. The one question that I was sort of wondering about is, after this run, will Tesla be able to hold it? And it kind of feels like the stock is settling around 1450. I'm excited because this creates a buzz. It creates action upward for the company. There are a lot of people, including institutions, that are now going to have to be positioning themselves relative to the split of the stock and the gain in values. So this is, I think, very big news, very good news. I believe that something in the 10 to 20% rise in shares is about where we should end up. And so we'll kind of go from there. I would say that, I don't know if Elon did this purposely because he hasn't done anything previously of this sort, because we could have already done it and been in a better position already. But it does solve the problem of the S&P that we've been relating on numerous occasions, where the additional share is going to come from to sell to those that are S&P entrants. And the answer is just do a stock split, and it's no problem. If you look at the data, what you'll find out is that the fact that there's a stock split doesn't change the market cap of the company, but it tends to affect the value because there are a lot of people that will start buying the stock now that weren't previously because the stock price was too high. So again, I want to congratulate Elon on Tesla on making this change. Congratulate those of you who own the shares because you just got a nice pop in value, and I think there's another 5 to 8% up still to go. And I really think this puts Tesla in play again as a rising entity in value based on how these two, if the event first of the stock split, then the add-on of the backup event of the S&P entrance is going to hit the stock, I think is quite good. So, and by the way, they didn't have to dilute the shares by issuing more of them in order to get the S&P access. So we wanted to note that we appreciate your taking time out to join us. This is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. Tschüss, German, au revoir, French, lehitraot, Hebrew, choda hafez, Farsi. In Jamaica, we say enough respect. Hey, dos, zdravstvuyte, Russian. Ni hao ma, Chinese. Don't forget 25 leg lifts a day to strengthen the quad muscles. Also wanted to encourage you to consider the 5-2 diet or one of the other fasting diets for better mental health as you age. And we also want to thank our Patreon supporters. If you enjoy the show, there's a lot of information for your better trading that you're missing out on if you're not a Patreon supporter. I think you would have made some good money today off of the advice we had provided to most folks relative to what was happening with the decline in price. At any rate, once again, thank you. We do have some SpaceX shares, things going on. If there's interest, please, we could use some support at the $30 level of Patreon, and that's how you access information. And access to Patreon is just below in terms of the additional information. You can hit the link, and that's how you would get access to what we're up to in terms of SpaceX shares. This is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. Thanks once again for joining us. Have a great day, and bye for now.